He's located in Davidson, North Carolina, while serving all of North and South Carolina. He is the Mortgage Planner, the Carolina's #1 mortgage radio. Premium lending experience along with mortgage planning. Ranked top in the nation, here is your host, Brad Roche.
Welcome to the place. Sound like I'm going out for a boxing match. That was really good. Let's do this. Ding, ding. Ready? Rocky. Mortgage, Rocky Balboa. Welcome to the plan. This is Brad Roche, the Mortgage Planner. Go to fortheplan.com if you have any questions on some of the material we're covering. And I am joined with my son, Jacob Roche. Good morning. How are you?
Good morning. Glad to be here. Doing well.
Yeah, you're in the fight, brother. You hear the ding, ding, Rocky Balboa going. All right.
Exactly.
We're going to have to get your name plugged in there. We got episode 2 of Mortgage Planner University that we're jumping into. The first one, we covered some great stuff: credit, debt ratio, cash to close, choosing a loan. And I said the loan chooses you. Do you remember that?
Yep.
Well, We're going to talk about choosing some fees and not some fees today. Talk about closing costs. And we're going to go through it in a way that I want people to, not 101, like, hey, this is what this is. I want you to grow from the show on applying for a loan to get the mortgage.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think first we should talk on, closing costs, but specifically on prepaids.
Prepaid, you want to go right to that? Okay, so prepaid items. Now, this is probably one of the worst ones because they've named it, in my opinion, 2-3 different things. Prepaids, escrow account, reserves, lots of different names for M-pounds, like they're taking your car. You know what I'm saying? Right. Really, I mean, it's like, what is this account? So really what we're doing is it's taxes and insurance put aside, right? That's an easy way to say it. They're doing property taxes and your home insurance coverage set aside. Now, they're also included in that number is an interest adjustment. So when you close on your home, you don't have a payment roughly. So let's just walk through that because a lot of people ask this too, and what that interest adjustment is. So that's a significant part of the prepaid items or escrow account. The big part of that I'm going to say is when you close, how much that's going to be.
Yeah.
So if I closed on the 25th of the month, you're going to have 5 days of interest through the rest of that month.
Not too bad.
Not too bad. Now, if you close on the 1st of the month, you're going to get 30 days of interest.
Yeah.
Then you skip a month and your first payment is due.
Yeah. Yeah. So like right now, I mean, if we were to, like if you close, let's say 28th.
2 days interest.
Yeah.
When would my first payment be due? You'd wait 30 days and then it'd be due that next month. You'd have 30 days before that first mortgage payment's due.
Yeah. And that's excellent. I think a lot of people don't know on that piece.
Well, if you're really structuring it properly, right, you can get a couple months off, no payment. Now, you're still being charged interest, right? So if I closed on the first 5 days of the month, I won't have a payment all that month. My money for that would be due at close and included in the escrow account. So all that month and next month.
Exactly.
So you have 60 days before your first mortgage payment comes due. So if you buy a $400,000 house, payment's $4,000. Man, that's $8,000 you didn't have to put out that might be able to get you into a house sooner, knowing you don't have that payment sitting out there.
True. Exactly.
No payment, 60 days. Put that on a banner, huh? Right? No payment, buy now.
Exactly. I see those coming around on car commercials too.
Well, I wonder, I don't know how they do that. I really don't. I've never sold cars, but I don't know how they'll do like 90 days. This isn't a trick. You're still being charged.
Yeah.
You are. That's now what they aren't doing is charging you the escrow for taxes and insurance in that 60 days or 30-day window. So let me define that. Typically, the bill is going to come out in this area September. Okay. Yeah. So all of your escrow account, meaning the reserve amount to have your taxes and insurance included in your payment, are all going to be set aside based on when that bill is due. So I don't want to overcomplicate it, but I kind of want to detail it out. Like if you were closing now, we would take 1 year home insurance. Now keep that in mind. You always have to close, whether you do an escrow account or not, and you do have an option with 20% down. Let's note that out. That's a kind of a beginner statement. You don't have to do an escrow account with 20% down. Anything less, you have to have an escrow account. That includes that interest adjustment. Then it's going to include at least the first year, 1 year, of your home insurance. Then we're going to pad the account a few months based on when the bill's due, because every month you're putting money in the account, right? Waiting for that to accumulate to next year's total bill so that can be paid out to the vendor, the home insurance or the property tax bill.
Yeah, and when it comes due, it's paid for you.
Right. So it's like you're just stuffing it away in a sock drawer and they're holding on to you. So why do some clients do an escrow account and some do not?
Are you asking me?
I am asking.
Okay.
Why would you not do one?
Well, I guess depending on the property that you're buying.
What does that mean?
$1 million property, and let's say in Davidson.
Okay. Why would you not do one there?
I think you can have a higher investment or a higher return on your investment opposed to having it sit in this account.
Man, you're getting good, right? You're right down the lane I wanted to go. So the point being is like, well, what if I have like a $300,000 house and your escrow account reserves, and I'm not poking fun at the amount, but $3,000, you're not going to get a huge return by the lender sitting on a $3,000 escrow account. Okay.
Yeah,
It fluctuates up and down. Now, Davidson, you got $1 million house, you might have a $20,000 tax bill. Yeah, I believe you could probably park that somewhere better.
Yeah.
And you manage your own, and your monthly would be less, but you'll have that bill for homeowners and taxes. Now, you can also pick when you're putting enough down, 20%. You can pick, do I want just homeowners in my escrow account, just taxes, both? You can have that option. Most people don't ever do that. You ever seen that done?
No.
I don't think I've ever done that.
Yeah, no.
I think I had one client said, I don't want my taxes in, but I do want my insurance.
Oh, wow.
I said, I don't really know how to do that, but I'll figure it out. Yeah, there's a button for everything in there. So closing cost, that's part of the cost. See, people, now I hate calling it that, right? That's not a fair line for it, closing costs. When we're talking about your escrow for your taxes and your insurance, it's your money. It's you're dealing with that. It's not a cost.
Yeah.
What is? It's not.
Agreed. Yeah.
But it's your money.
I know what you mean.
So if you sold the house tomorrow and we put the money in the account, you're going to get all that money back.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's your money.
Yeah, true.
Somebody else is holding it.
Yeah.
Pretty cool
exactly.
concept, isn't it? So when you add up all these, now where the money hits, right? Think about all this. How many people have escrow accounts? Now add all those. You don't have to guess on that. I have no idea. I don't even know if you could chat GPT any of that, right? But think about all the escrow accounts. Millions, billions.
Yeah.
And the bank sits on that money until the bill comes due all year.
Yeah, exactly.
Now there's some good
there
interest.
might be some money made.
Yeah. Now we're not talking about $3,000 in the account. So we've talked that cover escrow account for you in a good way of explaining it.
I would agree. Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think we should move on to lender fees. So
lender fees.
What are lender fees? And we were in the car on the way here. I called them junk fees.
And I said, you just called us junk, man. Don't do that on the air. And you did it. No, I'm kidding. But the joke really is they're fees designed by the lender. That's part of how we're getting paid. We're not junk, but they're going towards the admin.
Standard. Yeah.
Admin. I'm going to say administrative fees. Like one is your credit report. They're now $150. Man, when I started, they were like $14.99. I'm not kidding you. So now they're like $150 and they score it. But that's one of that would be in the lender column. So would your appraisal be in there? We have a few fees. So can we summarize? I'm going to list off a few: underwriting, processing, commitment fee, application fee. Anything else? Lock-in fee. There's lots of names, right? The commitment fee. What is that? Oh, you're committed. Yeah, but you haven't locked me in. Yeah, you still pay it. Some of the fees are weird.
I guess that's why we call them junk fees, is because it's called something different by every lender.
And every lender labels them different. I think that's what you need to know. So what is a good amount for that? I would say if you're over $1,500, give or take. Now, $200 here or there, depending on the person you hire, may be worth it, right? But if you're over too much, you don't want to mess with that. I think that number of $1,500 to $2,000 for the lender cost is there. Now, if it's any less, it's going to be embedded in your rate somehow, or the lender is truly giving you a discount, or they're paid a lesser commission, but they're screwing with that money. There's an equal credit opportunity, which means everybody has to be charged that money. So if they're removing it, they're getting it somewhere, they're going to charge you and credit it back. Well, that's coming off the rate. Rate and closing costs go hand in hand. We're going to keep going on the closing costs. We're going to keep going. We got a list here of a few I want to outline as you get into the mortgage side of it. You've been listening to The Plan at fortheplan.com. We're going to take a quick break. 704-412-2727. We'll see you in just a few. Welcome back to The Plan. This is Brad Roach, the Mortgage Planner. 704-412-2727. Did you catch that?
Yeah.
704-412-2727 or 855-4-THE-PLAN. You can still look up the numbers or the letters on your numbers on the phone, or just go to fortheplan.com. You'll find all the info we have, including the big hit Mortgage Planner University, 6 courses that you can, or 6 series that you'll go through in one course. Doesn't cost you a dime, but I bet you make more than a dime.
Agreed.
Listening to this stuff, I'm telling you, buddy, you're going to save some cash on it. That's the goal of this. We want you to be educated going in. It's too often you're not.
Agreed.
Not you. I mean, in general. Okay.
I
gotcha.
Right.
What do we got next on the list?
I think we covered lender fees pretty well. My opinion, still junk, but
yeah, I got you.
Moving on to appraisal, a credit report, title. So next, title fees.
Can you negotiate lender fees?
Mm.
Yes.
Yeah,
Of course.
I would say so.
Well,
yeah.
but they're going to get you somewhere else. That's
Yeah,
my point.
and
That's why I
rate.
asked you. Yeah, it's going to be paid somewhere in the rate typically when you're negotiating it. Yeah, I can do that, but your rate might be a little higher. Or they didn't lock you in and they made a little extra skin when they did.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So covered lender fees. So now title fees.
Title fees. Yeah, that's a good chunk in the amount, right? And,
Yeah.
and I would classify the attorney who's doing the deal. Usually the seller's agent picks them. You can pick who you want. I don't know, as though that is too tough. You want to go with somebody who's recommended, I would say to you.
Yeah, I agree.
But
That's a
you've
good
got
track record.
lender, you have the title fees in there
Yeah.
that are part of it, which is title insurance. Everybody has to have it. You have owner's insurance, which is part of it. I would consider in there. You don't have to do that. I consider that like a gap insurance if I had to explain it, but it is optional, but it's cheaper than the lender. It's only a couple $100. Probably a good idea to get it. And then they have their closing fee, $700, $800, $900 to do the paperwork and signing. Recording fees is part of theirs as well, good chunk. You can shop for these, but I'll tell you, don't hire a bozo. You get what you pay for. Same as a loan officer, same with a realtor, same with an attorney, same with a financial planner. When you're looking to hire someone to win in court, right? You want to hire someone who is reputable to handle that deal and represent you right. And that goes for all of this stuff.
Agreed. Yeah, and just get it done. So, I mean, overall lender fees, attorney fees, I think summing up title fees, law office fees,
All of that.
recording, all of it together, and then prepaids. So really our fees, I mean, we were talking about roughly about 1%.
All of this.
Yeah.
Now, that does not include your escrow account. So when you say 1%, I'm saying lender fee, appraisal, the title, credit report, title, it does not include it. Then you're going to add your prepaids to it.
Yeah.
So if I said you're buying this is an easy summarize, right? So you know if you're getting extra cost, right?
Yeah.
Or something's being extra on your mortgage quote. If I'm buying a $400,000 house, take the 1% rule for closing costs. That is all of the fees for lender, title, attorney, inspections, stuff like that, appraisal, all that. Then add your escrow account, which depending on if you did put 20% down, you wouldn't have it, so you wouldn't add it. But if you don't put 20% down, most escrow accounts, it's hard for me to give you a ballpark, right, what it would be or what you should expect for escrow. But I would say the cost that you should be examining, because you can't control tax insurance. Let's just take that to the side. And it's not a cost. You got to have that anyway. You have to have it anyway. You know what I mean? You don't have it. I don't want my taxes. You don't have an option like that.
Me neither.
No, I don't want mine either, but there's nothing you can do about it. So take that out of the equation. Use the 1% rule.
Yeah.
I think you'll be able to know if you're being charged extra. Now, above and beyond the 1%. I want to back up. I was going to address the escrow account. Typically, like regardless, like if you're not doing $1 million house, so 700 under conforming limits, which is standard loans that you can get decent down payments on, I would say that's a good 1% rule.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Right. So even
that's
if
a good standard.
$700,000, you're going to pay about $7,000. Now, escrow account depends on the tax bill, right? Depends on you have to pay 1 year of your insurance. Depends on the interest adjustment. Or do you have 1 day or do you have 28 days that we were talking about in your first payment before your first payment's due? Because that money's going to be included in this escrow deposit, if you want to call it that.
Yeah.
See, so that number can be loose, but can be better on the other side. But you also are going to pay it no matter what, right? So that's just part of the deal, knowing the taxes. Yeah. So it might only be 3 months, it might be 4 months, but it doesn't matter. You have to do it.
Yeah, unfortunately, right?
Now, the closing cost, the 1%, you can negotiate this, but they're going to tie it into the rate. And that's what I really want to make sure if someone's listening on this, that you're understanding. If you got a normal 1% closing cost figure, $400,000, $4,000 closing cost, those fees we listed out, not including your escrow, prepaids, that amount we talked about, or that interest adjustment, or your insurance, just those costs. Use that rule. Now, if it's heavier, my guy don't charge that, right? My guy don't charge that. So it's only $28.95 today, right?
Yeah.
Cheaper closing costs. How are they getting it? Typically in the rate.
Yeah, I would say. We even have options where we can pay for everybody's closing costs.
So
all closing costs.
Yeah, and that's where the mysterious APR, annual percentage rate, comes in. Man, Google that, chat it. They'll give you a better definition than I can. But the simple answer is it takes your base rate, right? So if I quoted you 7 and I gave it to you for free, your APR is going to be 7.
Yeah.
If I gave you 7, the base rate, your note rate is what they call that, and then I charge you $5,000, your APR is going to recalculate the reverse engineered, as my dad would have said, the pay, what your payment would be if we tacked on those costs, what your real rate would be then, right? So it's going to say, wow, you didn't pay $400 for the house, you paid $405 for the house. We're going to rerun all these numbers, and what would the real rate be that you're paying back, even though you paid the closing costs in cash? I know it's a little weird, but that's what they're trying to define. What they're trying to tell you is they're saying the closing cost you're paying and the note rate you have, this is what it equals, APR. So if I get charged, let's go back to the example. 7%, free loan, free. Your APR would be 7. 7% loan, $5,000 in closing costs, your APR is going to be 7.312. Some weird number like that, because they're calculating in the fees it took you to acquire the loan. Does it make sense?
Yeah.
I know you get it.
Yeah. I personally,
harder than heck to explain sometimes.
It is.
Though.
I agree. And I always say to clients, go based off of what I quote you, meaning the interest rate.
Yeah, what you're going to be paying it on.
APY on credit cards, things like that makes sense. Not as much on the mortgage.
Now where it makes sense is what if I got, the note rate is 6.5. It's really, really competitive. But, and everybody else is quoting 7. So my note rate's 6 and everybody else is quoting 7%. Well, now what if the APR on that low rate, that 6.5, is like 8? That means they're whacking you full of cost, right?
Jeez.
So the higher your APR, and the lower the note rate, the more closing costs you would have embedded into that.
Yeah.
Like I said, just chat that one, man.
Yeah, right. Hopefully we get a good explanation.
I can beat that up all day, but it's like, I don't know. You can control that, though, but it's going to be, how do you control it? APR, you're controlling your closing costs. So you can negotiate in the rate, you can negotiate in the closing costs, but one way or another, they're usually going to get paid. So the APR is what you'd be comparing loans on. Now, I'm going to stop there for a second, and I'm going to talk to you about being in the business for 30 years. You don't just compare closing costs on a deal. You don't just compare APR on the deal. I think you go off track record and reviews, and I think you go off recommendations from friend, family, and coworkers that trusted that person to help you, which is where our business has been built for years.
Yeah, I agree.
And that you're looking for the caliber of person that can help you through the mortgage too. And that's us. Here's our commercial, 704-412-2727, or go to fortheplan.com for more info. But that's where we'll help you get the right design. And what we're going to do is look at it in a longer term view and a short term view.
Yeah.
And there's a lot to that.
And I think that brings us into our next topic here about points and really what a break even is altogether. Meaning, points, I think we covered.
How do you describe points? No, we didn't really cover points.
Okay.
That's like extra. Go ahead. We covered closing costs. Now, points are closing costs, but points aren't closing costs.
Exactly.
Because that is not something that you are required to have.
Exactly.
Oh, but wait, there's more, because I'm going to tell you when you are required to have it. Kind of screwy, because it's going to depend on the loan you have. What are points? Points to me are prepaid interest.
Agreed.
Okay, so I'm gonna, let's say at 1 point, if I'm buying we'll stay with this $400,000 loan. If I'm buying a $400,000 house, $400,000 loan rather, 1 point, 1%, $4,000. Okay, so 1 point, $4,000. Let's say that you're getting 7.5, and you pay 1 point, right? And it drops you down to 7. So you paid $4,000 to drop a half a point. Now I know in my head that's $200 a month savings on $400,000. Give or take a couple bucks.
Yeah.
That's $2,400 a year. $2,400 a year, but I paid $4,000 to get it. So in the first year, was it a good investment? I paid $4,000 to get it. I saved $2,400.
Yeah. If
That's not a good deal.
If you move, no.
Right. When the first year you lost, right?
Yep.
Now what if I stay? Now I've made $2,400. I'm at $4,800. And I paid $4,000. Now I'm up. Oh, this is casino time, baby. You got to stay 2 years to go up, right? Double down. That's the key, though. So when you talk about points, when does it make sense? When you getting it back.
Yeah.
So when do points make sense? When do I get it back?
Yeah, exactly. Like in that example right there, it's one year, 8 months is when it comes out to. If you're saving $200 a year, $2,400, that's 1 year, 8 months total.
And you could, some people, when you go to refinance, right, and they quote you a point, in the calculation of your break-even point, you should also be including the closing costs.
Yeah.
You should, because maybe it's let's go off the 1% rule. It's $8,000, $4,000 closing costs plus 1 point be $8,000. And how much am I saving from my current rate? Let's say I'm at 7 and I'm dropping to 6. It'd be $400 a month. See the point of when do I get my money back from the monthly savings that I upfronted? And the only time it makes sense to score on this, right, is the payback period you win on, meaning you've stayed in the home long enough to pass break even and make, I could call it a profit, if you will, from that decision.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
That's big money.
Yeah, very much so.
What are the loans? Well, we could save this, but we've got couple more seconds. There's a couple loans you can't get. Are you going to have points, probably regardless of even if you ask for them, because they're priced more aggressively from the lenders, more high-risk loans.
And no choice to it. So, I mean, a couple that that come to mind for me is investment or second home.
Definitely. Yeah, investment property, rental, second home.
At least 1 point, I would say, typically.
And if you're doing anything off the charts, which would be non-QM that aren't your traditional loans, it's where you're going to see it. So we'll help you with that. We're going to take a quick break, come back with more from Mortgage Planner University and fortheplan.com, 704-412-2727. See you in a few. Welcome back to The Plan. This is Brad Roach, the Mortgage Planner. 704-412-2727 is our direct dial. Joined with Jacob Roche, my son, in the shop. We're getting it done. We are in Mortgage Planner University's second round. If you want to go to fortheplan.com, we'll have other episodes for you, but it's definitely worth enrolling. It's 6 hours of this.
Free knowledge.
Broken down, but none of the basic stuff. We did leave out a couple things on we're going to do some recapping here and go back over some of this. And I talk fast, so I'm going to say a few things over again, and then you can play it slower in your car.
Yeah, that's perfect.
Versus me saying it slower, right? That's what I thought.
Yeah, I think going back to the closing costs, I think we left a couple of things out, meaning...
See, now that's where they start feeling ripped off, man. That's like, oh, no, you're bringing more costs. Yeah, I bet there is more. Remember I went and got my tires done. I won't mention the place that I got them done. I won't. Yeah. I won't. I'm not going to. Something tire. But, where you get your tires done. But I asked, quote, it's $1,200. And I had to get all new tires because I wore them down, right? And I get there, it's 17. I said, but no, he said 12. And this, and it's like, well, can we get rid of that? So you got to look at what you're signing up for. Yeah. You really do. I was off track. Go ahead. What were you saying?
Yeah, exactly. No, I agree with you.
See if you can, when you make your offer in your house, see if you can get car tires included.
Yeah,
that's
right.
That's the deal.
That'd be ideal. Well, I think a couple that don't necessarily apply to every situation, but
that makes me feel better.
Yeah, right. I agree. So, home inspection.
Okay. You don't have to do it. Yeah. You don't have to do it. Now,
surely recommend it.
Did you do it?
I did, yeah.
Yeah, you did. Did you go watch it? You bought a house recently.
Yep, back last June, yep.
And you are a nonstop, have skills that your dad doesn't have of fixing things in the house. Found out you don't do toilets well, removing toilets. That's not your thing.
We got a plumber coming out today.
But yesterday. The floor looks good, but he ain't got no toilet. You know what I'm saying? So you need a little help with that. But the point is home inspection. You did get one. Did you go to it?
No, I did not.
Why didn't you? First house. Why didn't I go to that? It's very exciting.
I didn't know. I honestly didn't know people do that. Go to the inspection. I know you go to the walkthrough.
I think I've gone to, I don't know if I've gone to a whole one. In 30 years of doing this, it's 4 hours typically. Oh, wow. 4-hour inspection usually.
Wow, I didn't know that.
They check every outlet. See, here's the difference. What people wonder sometimes, well, I don't need that because you're getting your own inspection done. And they'll call our stuff, our report that we get called an appraisal, an inspection. Not home inspection, we'll just call it an inspection. Well, it is. The appraiser's going to know if you got a little dookie on the floor when you walk in. He's going to note that. If you got peel and paint, he might call that out. If it's falling apart, he's going to notice and comment on trashed house-ish, if you want to call it that. But he's not checking every outlet.
I think that oftentimes people think that the appraisal is for the buyer.
Yeah, it has nothing to do with them.
It's really for us. It's for our collateral.
All us. Yeah. All us. Yeah. Most of the stuff in the process is for us. Like I got good credit. You don't need to pull it. Yeah, we do. That's for us. The biggest part is that I think what people have to understand when they're going through the paperwork process of this, right, is it's a vetting process. I think that's the best description I ever had from Gus Almighty, man. He told me that one. They're vetting you, right? They're making sure you're going to pay the loan back.
I saw in my mortgage, what is it, the continuing education, they said we have to literally prove that you're not doing fraud at this point.
Yeah,
That's
right.
one way you stated it. So
Yeah,
vetting
yeah.
So it is a process a little bit more.
It
than what
has
used
nothing
be.
to do with someone pulling a fast one, but they're looking at all kinds of background reports that are included that you're paying for these closing costs. So home inspection, while I've never had the personal privilege of sitting through the 4-hour deal, I know Angela has. She's done that. Is it necessary even on a new construction? My answer would be yeah. You putting down, however much money, and you're investing $300,000, $400,000. I think the inspection's needed. It's kind of, you're covering the investment. You don't want something off on it. Even if it's new, something could be a hair off that you want to have corrected ahead of time. It's better safe than sorry, right? For the report.
Yeah, agreed.
What else did you have down?
One that not necessarily always, but depending on the property, again, HOA dues or buy-in capital contribution. They'll call it something a little bit different.
Homeowner association, right?
Oh, yeah. Sorry.
Yeah. No,
Homeowners
HOA.
association.
That APR, right? Annual percentage rate. Right, same stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
So all these that's how we try to confuse the public, right? That's what they. That's
Acronyms.
Yeah. Oh, your APR is fine. What's my APR? Glad it's good though. The doctor says, "Oh, you're fine." You get it. Okay. So HOA though, do you have one on your house?
And mine's not much a month.
Probably don't do jack for the neighborhood either.
No.
Right.
I got a playground.
That's how that goes. So some people with the fat HOA, like if you're buying a condo, $200 could be $300, could be $400.
The difference between my single family home versus a condo up in Charlotte. I'm from looking around helping clients out. I've seen anywhere from upwards of $300 per month for a $300,000 condo.
That's something you want to take into account. Now, you don't have the maintenance, and I'm not talking about your bathroom situation you're dealing with later today. I'm talking about ground maintenance, like outside. You don't have to do a lot of that typically when there's the HOA. Now, I've lived in a neighborhood where the HOAs, the neighborhood is absolutely beautiful. Think of a golf course, right? Most golf course neighborhoods that have an HOA are going to be a little bit more expensive because the grounds are kept better. But that's what you're paying for. I've been in neighborhoods. I love them. I think it's beautiful.
Yeah, I agree.
Ours is very, very cheap now. But we don't have much. They put a little flowers on the end with a sign.
Yeah. Mine's mowing the lawn. That's about it.
Yeah,
meaning
the open space, not your lawn. They don't mow yours.
Oh yeah, no, not mine. Not mine. Sorry. Yeah,
that's included. Yeah, you're not getting that for a few bucks a month.
The common spaces, I guess.
Yeah, so that's a big part. So HOA is a big fee. Now that people get surprised with that. I think because you say, oh, the HOA is $200. Yeah. Did you notice that the buy-in might have been $600, plus you have to put up 3 months or something at closing. So now you're talking about $1,000 to $2,000 swing. I just would rather know than be surprised is all.
I agree. And I think that some people think that it is monthly.
Which part?
The HOA. The monthly dues. Some, like how we calculate it on our end, I think that some people think that it is monthly. Well, like I got a bill in the mail, and I honestly... I forgot about my HOA. So I got a bill in the mail, and there it was, first of the year. I had to pay it.
Yeah.
So I think that a lot of people like.
How much is your whole HOA?
Was $500
for the whole year.
Yeah, whole year.
Yeah. So some people do $500 for a month.
Yeah.
Some
exactly.
people $500 a year. I think mine's even cheaper than yours.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So I think it can go. It depends the services you get. I don't know what you were saying with that. You pay it monthly or not, but.
Yeah, I just think that like we have to take it into our calculation when we like past episode we have to talk about DTI. We take it into calculation there, but it's not in your payment.
Yeah, I think that's important. See, so there's a great point. That's where you're going. So the escrow account has nothing to do with your HOA. We're going to collect some money, but you're paying them totally separate. We can't even collect it if we wanted to. It's not an option.
Exactly.
They don't have that button.
Yeah.
Unfortunately. They don't have that button. I've looked. So you got to handle the HOA. Could be a good chunk at closing on you. What else we got?
And to add on that, I think it would be preferred for me. As opposed to getting a $500 note in the mail.
You'd rather have them break it down
I'd rather
$60 a month.
I wish they could escrow that too. But however, moving forward, another one I thought, structural engineer report, and that's on manufactured homes. That's standard for any.
Could be on a piece of junk too.
That's true.
If you get structural damage. The appraiser, so that's where we come back to the appraiser, right? What's he looking for? Value. No, it's not on repeat. Don't worry, you don't have to restart it. But he's looking for value. That's the main thing he's looking for. Are we lending good collateral to who we're doing this with? That's what we're looking for.
Exactly.
But when you go to the structural engineer, he's also looking for a hindrance, right? If there's danger, I'd call it dangerous.
Yeah.
Remember your pool deal? Talk a little bit on that one. Like that was a lot to do with the appraiser. Didn't have a lot to do with the inspection. Had nothing to do with it. Like you couldn't get a home inspection and take the report and still pay cash. But you had a pool deal that was a little different than normal
Yeah, it had to be either filled or reconstructed, really.
because it was trashed,
Yeah,
filled like with dirt.
yeah, filled. Oh, yeah, I'm sorry.
Right?
Not with water.
No, I was asking. So
Covered.
it was with dirt.
Yeah, with dirt.
Yeah, and cover
or
Like-
rebuilt.
like bury the pool, put an ending to it.
Yeah.
It's over.
And yep, it's just a plot of grass.
And
I'm
that's
over
dirt
it.
coming in, and they got to make sure they seal things off. So that can be a real. So the people living there didn't use the pool.
No, hopefully not.
Guess they could have. You're talking empty.
It had not necessarily.
It'd
It
be
was
weird.
green
Man.
sludge.
Who
but-
plays in an empty pool? Do you know people like that in college? Probably you did.
Yeah,
Play
that's
in an
right.
empty pool. Well, you're listening to The Plan, 704-412-2727. We're off track a hair on that, but we're going to come back and talk about the pool because that brings into extra expenses or opportunity. Could it be, right? Is it an opportunity on the deal negotiations when something goes wrong? And that's what I want to close this out with. We're going to take a quick break. You're listening to The Plan. Make sure you go to fortheplan.com, the number 4, theplan.com, 704-412-2727. Hey, did you catch that? 704-412-2727. We'll be back. I need a break. Welcome back to The Plan. This is Brad Roche, joined with Jacob Roche, 704-412-2727. Got that out, didn't I? See,
Yeah.
fortheplan.com. Go check us out. Get into Mortgage Planner University. We got good stuff for you. Hopefully you're taking notes, getting some good ideas for when you're looking to purchase a house or your next home. We'd love to be there for you. 704-412-2727. The easiest way is to go to fortheplan.com. We've got tons of tools there that lead you to the rest of our website. Tons and tons of information on there. We've got other episodes that we've done as well. But lots of calculators, tools, plans, stuff like that. So where are we going from here?
I would say touch on just for a minute. We can go choosing a rate.
Choosing the rate, well, I kind of did that, right? So choosing the rate, I kind of hit that home. How do you choose the rate? And really, is it choosing points? So if you're in a loan that you have the option to say, what is my rate with no points? That's an okay question.
Yeah.
And then some people will just put them in there.
Yeah. Agreed.
Yeah, because you get a better deal sometimes.
Yeah.
We see that. I don't think a consumer sees that every time. Like I know sometimes it makes sense to say, hey, I'm going to throw you in a quarter. That drop quarter point, half a point, dropped you another quarter, which might have saved you $100 and the break even's only like 3 months, 4 months.
Yeah. And that's the ideal situation. But like right now, where the market's at, we anticipate rates coming down, is what they say.
We're all hoping, brother.
Yeah, we're hoping right now. So it's like right now, I mean, for me personally, I think that's paying the less points right now because chances are I will refi
I would agree.
in the next, hopefully,
Well, so
24 months.
there's the point, though, is choosing the rate would be in a market that we are expecting declines. We don't know when, but are expecting declines. We've seen the pattern of what it's been doing. All the talking heads say that that's what's going to be going on, depending on inventory, some things like that, and inflation. But, as you come down to it, when do you get your money back from the monthly savings? So if I charge you a quarter and you're going to get it back in 3 months, well, that ain't nothing. You're not doing anything in 3 months. See, that's where it doesn't matter, and it got you a better deal. Long term, because in 3 months I break even from the money it would save me that I paid up front. And that's how you're choosing the rate. Like it's all about when you get it back.
Yeah.
And what the market might be doing. And I think that's also why you hire a professional. Because some guys I had a client call in the other day and their guy was one of your guys. They were pressing, not one of your guys, but the person he had called was pressing him to lock in. And he didn't need to lock in. He's not even closing until October, November of this year. And market is expected to come down, and we can monitor that for them
Yeah.
without paying a fee, without any cost, with a float down option. Yeah, that's where sometimes they can put some pressure on in the rate, but I think it's what are you paying for it, right? And don't sideways on credits. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
I
I was going to say, like, if we quote, like, had you said, what's my rate with no points? We can tell you that. Let's say it's, and without an application, I can't tell you, but
Right.
let's say off the hip, it's 7.5 right now. Well, we can give you, let's call it 8 and pay for all your closing costs.
Yeah, it's all embedded in there.
Yeah.
And you'd want to watch what the APR is with the rate with your closing costs included compared to the note rate with it not included.
Exactly. So
See-
I think a lot don't know about that option.
So
even.
where do you go from here? Wow, all this sounds, here's what you do. You put them next to each other. That's what you do for every single client that comes to do business with us. We put options next to each other without points. Little bit different twist on it based on your qualifications to make sure we're getting you in the best return for your investment on this.
Yeah, our total cost analysis will break down savings per program or savings over 60 months, savings over even 15,
and
10
per
years?
house. We can even put two houses next to each other. We can put your current house against a new house if you're thinking of moving.
Exactly.
Yeah, so we've covered most of. I don't think there's anything left on your list. Oh, did want to address the last item right here. That was the reinspection. I believe it was. Let me see it real quick. That was. Hang on. We're gonna get. I want to make sure I do this because the structural engineer you hit, but reinspection on that. That's a big deal. That can happen on your pool deal.
Yeah,
that's where I'm going.
Yeah,
so the reinspection, we had to send a guy back out, make sure they took care of this pool. So sellers have a house. Let's structure the stage. Sellers have a house. They have a beautiful house.
Yeah.
But the pool, you go out back, pool's nasty.
Yeah.
Never been touched in. Shouldn't have been swam in. Frogs don't even go in it. It's disgusting, right?
They didn't put it in the listing pictures as well.
Not even in the pictures.
For a reason.
No photos of this. Okay, so now we got that. He makes an offer on it. Appraiser comes out. Our guy, not your home inspector guy. Our guy comes out and says, hey, there's a little risk with this lending on this home. Right.
Yeah,
which causes a problem. So then we have to get quotes.
Yeah.
Go ahead. You can tell some of the stuff we went through to do that.
Yeah, it was quite the process on it. So we had a couple options. We were looking at escrowing it, meaning fixing it after closing, which we don't recommend, nor do normal lenders typically want that.
Yeah, you want it done ahead of time typically. And that's different from an escrow account we were talking about in your payment. Isn't that funny? Nice words, right? Escrow account, you can put money aside to fix up the house. That would be an escrow as well. Yeah,
exactly. I see how that could be confusing.
Yeah, it can definitely add some twist to it. But as this guy was going through it, he when something like that and it's required and you have to do certain action items as the buyer, I think that's opportunity to look for negotiations on any deal.
I agree.
I find it very soft when an appraisal may come in low. And you say, oh, I think it's worth it, meaning the agent who's representing the buyer. I think it's soft that they would not want a better opportunity to present that and say, hey, the professional appraiser came out who's licensed to do this for the lender and he came in $20,000 low. My buyer wants to offer you and make a different price offer. It doesn't have to be the whole thing, but to say, oh, no, I think it's worth it. I would question why you wouldn't fight for the client, right? That's who's hired you.
It's hard to disagree with that appraised value on it.
No, it's not. I've been around a long time. Plenty of realtors have disagreed with an appraiser. In fact, everybody agree. Unless it can come in higher, you're going to disagree with them.
Yeah.
Depends on who you are, right? What if it came in higher? The seller would be like, they would want to renegotiate, but you don't.
True.
They don't.
They didn't.
So if it came in higher, though, the appraisal, you don't. The seller doesn't have an option to say, oh, I didn't know that. Let me get that extra $20,000.
Yeah.
They don't even know about it typically.
Yeah. True.
Right. So I look at when things come up, you can look at it as a thunderstorm in the deal, or you can look at it like an opportunity to negotiate and get maybe a better deal, more reasonable deal for you.
Well, I can even talk on mine. I mean, it's I was living in an uptown apartment, 25th floor. I was very tired of it. I was ready to get out.
You're tired of it because you bought a puppy while you were living up there,
fair.
And that's 25. Now, it ain't fair. That was mean to the dog, man.
There wasn't much grass around, So needless to say, me and my dog were tired of it.
Yeah, the dog's Reggie. You can check him out. He's definitely posted on all our social media at fortheplan.com.
Our mascot for sure. So, but yeah, so I was getting tired, and I was getting tired of renting. Wanted to find a place, as you've been saying. I like to do the renovations, things like that. So I got into a house, but for the house that I went under contract for was on the market for 60 days through Open Door. So I think that gave me a lot of opportunity for negotiations.
Sure. I think it does, especially the longer it sits, and some people don't have that luxury. But when you bought your house, was this the ideal house for you? Like, did you walk in and say, oh my, is this perfect?
It was what I was imagining.
Oh, it was.
Not in
terms. You had dreams about the house?
Not in terms of.
You're smiling at me, not answering me.
Not in terms of how the house looked. The layout was exactly what I wanted. Dining room, kitchen, open floor plan, things like that. Upstairs, 3 bedrooms, all upstairs. But my fixtures, my light fixtures, it was a mess. Like, they were all terrible. So
you saw through that.
Yeah.
You've become a good electrician on the side. Yeah.
Exactly.
Mortgage thing don't work out. You got something else going. It ain't going to be in toilets though, brother.
Exactly.
Yeah, because we got to get extra help in for that. Well, so when we're looking at you buying the house, how was the neighborhood? Do you think that was perfect for you?
Yeah. I mean, younger families starting out and clean neighborhood.
Scale of 1 to 10 when you said, I'm out in the search for a house. Where did this one play in?
I looked at one house before that.
So 2 houses and you were sold.
Yeah, I found that one and I knew that one was perfect for me.
So that's pretty cool. And you wonder why some people take longer. Do you think you have to settle in this market some? That's what I was getting at. Do you have to settle when there's less out there?
I don't think I settled because I found the floor plan that I wanted, but I guess I settled in terms of like I didn't get exactly what I wanted in terms of light fixtures, and I don't like the sink handles, things like that, where it's not that big a deal. I can change.
Why didn't it sell for 60 days, do you think?
I couldn't tell you.
Honestly. I think you already answered it. I see, here's, I've rehabbed over 100 houses, well over 100, probably 2, right? Okay. Right. And I can tell you that, and my dad started me on that. You'll get into it, I'm sure, doing more of rehabbing, but we've owned several properties that way and fixed them up. And even the house we're in now, we've done more to the house now than probably any other property I personally lived in. Usually we buy it cookie cutter, don't do much, and we move. But when you walk in a house, and that's why I was kind of asking, hey, was this perfect? Was it the right neighborhood? And you were, yeah. But then when you get in there, you've been nonstop you expanded the patio. Can we talk about what you've done to the house? Let's be serious now.
Yeah, okay.
We're going to break this down. Okay. You you expanded the patio double size on the back side of the house, and it was already beautifully fenced in, but you added a fire pit as well.
Yep.
Beautiful. What else did you do to the house? So added an extended patio of about 12 by 12, fair to say.
Yep.
And with a fire pit and?
Changed sink faucets. I've changed every light fixture, every sink faucet.
Every light fixture you've redone.
Yeah.
Where'd you go buy them?
Amazon, actually.
Amazon.
Delivered next day.
Okay, so you ordered some pretty lights on Amazon. Do you feel like you spent a lot or just more of an upgrade polish? Like it was pretty cheap to do, I think.
Yeah, it was very cheap.
Okay,
they had good deals.
And then fixtures, you felt that was necessary to change all the fixtures in the house plumbing-wise?
Yeah, for sure.
Why? Were they were rusty? What?
They were plastic. They were probably the ugliest you've ever seen. I would put it up there. I looked them up. They're
that ugly.
They were $4 per.
That confident they're the ugliest?
Yeah,
okay, all right.
That's how I feel
So they're gone. Those have gone through that. What else did you do?
I changed shower heads. All the trim on the showers. I painted my cabinets, meaning
this is a guy. Think about this, guys. This is a guy coming from my house. I raised this child. He don't do this. I don't do that stuff. That is not in my DNA. This has not worked out for me. But you keep going. What else did you put? Cupboards in the kitchen?
Yeah, kitchen cupboards.
Took all of them off.
Yep, sink or bathroom cabinets.
What were they? They were that darker brown.
Yep.
And you changed the cabinets to what color?
A light cream color.
And you added beautiful handles.
Yep.
And now all that's done.
Added handles to it.
You redid the laundry room floor.
Yep.
You just tried to redo the bathroom floor. Took the toilet off. Toilet thing didn't go back on. Yahoo comes out from another company here. He wasn't at the tire place. He came from a plumbing place. Maybe he came from a tire place.
Yeah,
that might have been a problem. Anyway, he does that and he didn't turn the water off, and that went buck wild.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that first one to go sideways.
And that's not too bad. But the point is, look at all you've done. And see, when you're going into a property, you got to have that little bit of vision, right?
Yeah.
And that can make the difference in the deal. So thanks for joining us today. We're wrapping up. Go to fortheplan.com. We're covering a lot. Maybe you got to replay it, or we'll see you next time.